A book took a hotel manager 10 years to finish. Share his penetrative wisdom on travel and life.
So let's talk about writing. When was your first book be published?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was encouraged to do it by people that I worked with. I don't consider myself a writer. It was just purely accidental. A publisher of a magazine in Japan encouraged me to write a monthly column for him. And it just started from there. And then I was encouraged to put my ideas and these short stories in a book. They're basically didactic essays. And they're not fantasy. They are based on real experiences that have taught me lessons over the years. And my staff encouraged me to share those experiences and to share the learnings. So I decided to do that. So it's taken about 10 years.
10 years?
Yes, from the time I started writing until the time I decided to put these disparate stories, if you like, into book form. So
far, there's only one book being published?
Yeah, there's only one, but I'm not quite sure whether there'll be a second one. It's interesting because I was walking through this section here not too long ago, and the manager approached me and she said, Mr. A, I hear you wrote a book. I said, yes. She says, I didn't know you were a writer. I said, well, neither did I. I didn't think I was either. She says, are you going to write another? Are you going to be a writer now? You're going to write more books? I said, well, no, probably not. I think just one. And then she thought for a moment and looked at me. She says, one life, one book.
One life, one book. Very good.
So I said, how profound. Actually, the book is it's an effort over the years. I didn't sit down and say I was going to write it. It's a collection of contributions over the years. It took about 10 years to do. Even now, as I'm looking at someday doing a third edition of the book, I will be adding more material and more experiences as I travel, and things I pick up along the way that fascinate me or I feel are important enough to talk about. I've been encouraged by the response I've received from the book. You know, some people are not sure whether it's a trade book, whether it's an inspirational book, or whether it's... but when I wrote it, I was thinking of the young Chinese and how useful it might be for them to read a book written by a hotelier, and there are not too many books written by a hotelier.
Yes.
And travel fascinates people. Hotels are very glamorous to a lot of people. I thought it would be an interesting discussion or discourse with them, whereby they could get the perspectives of a hotelier who has basically traveled around the world over the last 3 decades, and who's also of Greek origin, because my culture is ancient like the Chinese culture. So there are many, many common ideas, if you like. So I thought it would be wonderful to connect with the young Chinese. And actually what made me pursue the project after people encouraged me to do it was some of the, I was invited to Fudan University in Jiaotong, and where I did some presentations to MBA students and so on.
Great.
And I was so enormously impressed by the quality of their questions and their curiosity. And I said, maybe I should make a contribution. And I'm very happy I did that. I don't think I'll ever become rich by doing it, but it's of enormous satisfaction.
Wise men with constant speculation can seize inspiration easily. These words keep records of Peter, a global hotel manager's experience and thinking, and create another fantastic world.
The title of the book is and isn't revealing, and it's quite curious to a lot of people. I won't explain how the title came about in the interest of time, but Everything New is Free really is about attitude. I could have called the book Attitude is Free, in the sense that good attitude, good results, bad attitude, bad results. It's all mental.
Yeah.
It's all a state of mind. Whereas, for example, experience that we've been talking about is about who we were and what we are, let's say. Attitude is what we can become.
We have saying in Chinese that attitude decides everything. And not exactly something about good or bad, but attitude is really important and very crucial to one's decision.
Yes, yes. I agree with you completely. And you know, as you were saying that, relating it to business, for example, what I like to say to our people, think in terms of not what's right or what's wrong, because that is always subjective.
Yeah.
And circumstances change. The individuals involved have different perspectives, etc. But we should think in terms of what's appropriate. And again, what's appropriate really is closer to a good attitude than a bad attitude. So I agree with you completely. That was, so there are applications in other areas, not only in professional life, but there are applications in our personal lives as well.
Besides traveling and writing, Peter also has great affection for theatre and performing arts. He applies his favorite culture and art into his work, from staff's uniform to performance at Sunday's brunch. All has been the result of Peter's efforts and persistence.
Have you sort of one day you're gonna settle down and try to find the place for you to spend the rest of your life? So, what country or region gonna be?
Well, again, I'm a little bit biased, being of Greek origin. So naturally, I would say somewhere, to retire somewhere where I can see the Mediterranean and feel the cool breezes on my face in late
Absolutely
afternoon.
not Shanghai. Yeah.
Well, we have Huangpu River here, and that's also a nice place. But the climate there is quite nice. And although Shanghai is a lovely place, we don't quite have 4 seasons like we do in Europe. Ideally, I'd like to retire in 2 or 3 places. In the days of my parents, for example, they were thinking of retiring in 1 place. And they were even thinking of retiring. I don't even think to retire, because I'm going to retire to what? You know, what am I going to retire to? You know, for me, it's just a continuum. If I can be 80 years old and work up on a hill somewhere at a 20-room hotel, pretending to be a general manager of a 20-room hotel, I think I'd be quite happy.
Then you're gonna be on my show again. to whom a record of those world record. And so far, what kind of achievement do you think is the most valuable and, you know, always remain in the very good memory?
In life, we come, we experience, we contribute, and then we go. And what that really means is that what stays is what you do for people. The rest is fleeting, not so important. I think at different points in our lives we think it is. And I think as you move on, what you thought was important really diminishes in importance. And other things that you didn't think were important appreciate or increase in importance. And I think the best answer I can give to that is what you do for other people to help them succeed, to help them realize their potential, to make them more successful. And the earlier you start, the better. I couldn't think of anything else.